Conditions are deteriorating as the remnants of Ian take over the Triad. Check out our traffic cameras. Fortunately, not a lot of vehicles on the road right now.
A power line sparking and smoldering in Greensboro near PTI. Ian's blustery winds knocking out power. Tens of thousands in the dark in the Triad. Now to our coast, the Carolina Beach Marina underwater. This video shows the toll that Ian is taking on our coast. The water simply everywhere.
And our Skycam network shows conditions across the area, each capturing conditions as we watch and wait.
Ian made its second landfall as a Category 1 storm in South Carolina. The eye crossed Georgetown, south of Myrtle Beach, just after 2 p.m. The waves lashing, the winds gusting at 85 miles an hour. And the devastation lingers in Florida. At least 9 people are confirmed dead. Here's an aerial look along Florida's Gulf Coast. President Biden says it could take months or maybe even years to rebuild. Ian is now making its way through the Triad with gusty winds and rain. The WFMY News 2 team is on top of it all.
As you know, we are under a tropical storm warning and now states of emergency at the state, county, and city level. Tim, sounds like we've still got several hours before we're in the clear.
That's true. You know, the weather has quickly gotten stronger over the last couple of hours. I don't think it'll get much worse than it is right now, but it will stay steady like this for about 6 more hours. You got to hunker down at this point. What we're seeing with the storm, in case you missed it, no longer technically a hurricane. This is now a tropical or a post-tropical low. Basically just means it's kind of like a nor'easter combination with a tropical system. Either way, the wind and rain is moving in. We've already been seeing it, and it's all on the north side of the storm. Take a look. There's no rain on the southern edge of the system. They're already clearing out in Myrtle Beach, where boy did they get hammered earlier today. Here locally, the radar really filling in the gaps. We have some downpours, but we also have some pockets of less rainfall at the moment. This is kind of the beginning of that core of the system, though. This is where we start to see some of the heaviest rain and the highest gusts. There are also a couple of lightning strikes happening, so you may hear some thunder. This rain is really pushing in at the moment. Winds have been the highest we've seen all day. These are sustained. Sustained winds at 30 are impressive, and they've been gusting 40 to 45 right now. Raleigh is close to 50. We could see some of those close to 50 gusts later on. So far, we've had less than an inch of rain in most of the area. That's good news, but we could still pick up an additional 1 to 2 inches. We will monitor that for you. All of this is happening between now and about 1 to 2 a.m. After that, things are starting to calm down, not just with the rain, but also with the winds. We're on top of this. We're going to keep you covered, not just right now, but throughout the evening.
Tim, thanks. The storm has already caused some damage in our area. For example, a tree fell on a townhome in Greensboro.
Fire officials say it caused significant damage to the home. WFMY News 2's Grace Holland joins us live now with a closer look.
People here are really hoping that this isn't a sign of things to come around the city. We're in between rain bands right now, but we have seen rain start to pick up in the last few minutes or so. You can see this large tree that has fallen. Luckily, no one was inside the home that it fell on at the time, so no one was hurt in this. We did speak to a neighbor who heard it fall. He thought maybe his dog fell down the stairs until he came outside and saw this.
We thought a tree out front lost a limb or something. Wasn't the case. Our neighbor from across the way came out pointing at our neighbor's house, and that's when we saw the gigantic oak tree just spilled on top of his house.
He's working to get in touch with that neighbor. He was telling me that he thinks that that person travels for work, so really hoping to give him a heads up about this so he doesn't just come home and find it here. And we also saw a Good Samaritan come by. He didn't live in this neighborhood, but he just wanted to help any way he could, so he actually cut some of the branches around the front door so that the homeowner can get back inside whenever they get here.
Love to see that. There are good people out there. Thank you to that Good Samaritan. Thousands of power outages in the Triad right now. The report started trickling in early this afternoon.
Heavy winds took down several power lines near PTI Airport, knocking out power for nearly 800 people. WFMY News 2's Kevin Kennedy met one of the people impacted.
It took a while, but Hurricane Ian has arrived in the Triad. Heavy winds and rain already causing problems. Duke Power on high alert.
Our crews are prepared and ready, staged and ready to go.
Several crews already in repair mode. A new power pole going up on Wendover. This is the old one. A car crash, the culprit. Another crash soon after. On Market Street out by the airport, more crews on the scene. A live wire dangling, a power pole burning, and a box truck disabled. The cause of all this unclear.
How low could a power line be for... There's a big question mark there.
What we do know is 700 customers lost power. Sonny Coble is one of them.
I was actually Herbie's restaurant on Battleground when I got an alert from Duke Power that my power was out.
Duke Power telling us it could be hours till the repairs are made. Sonny content to write it out.
I guess I'll read and listen. I love music and play music. I can do that if I want to.
His keyboard requiring power, his piano out of tune, but his harmonica works just fine. This is certainly one way to pass the time. Sonny not worried about this or what's to come.
I try to use wisdom what I do, and I choose to live by faith rather than fear.
Back on the road, the rain is picking up. It will most likely be a long, wet, and busy night for power crews. Kevin Kennedy, 2 Wants to Know.
As you saw, Duke Energy linemen and women are working as fast as they can to restore power.
WFMY News 2's Amber Lake joins us live now in Greensboro with an update on their progress.
Right, guys, so even from 2 hours ago, the weather is significantly different. The rain has come down a little bit heavier, but the winds are a lot stronger. Even the gusts of winds are stronger. I have to keep a hand on my hat just to make sure it doesn't float away in these gusty winds. But here on Wendover Avenue off of Piedmont Parkway, a tree fell earlier today, causing a power outage in this area. Now, thankfully, a lot of these businesses have been restored with power over the last couple hours. But more outages are popping up throughout the evening. Duke Energy told me they're ready for whatever is thrown their way tonight. They have about 11,000 workers across the state ready for this storm. Some crews even coming into town from Vermont and Pennsylvania to assist. Duke Energy says they get the question all the time from customers who have an outage asking why their power hasn't been quickly restored. Well, there are a few factors in play.
There's a process we use to restore power, and it starts with getting our main transmission lines and substations, the big interstates of the power grid that get power to your area, back online. And then we're going to work to restore as many customers as we can.
NCDOT has also seen very little issues today, but are patrolling the area and ready to help when needed. NCDOT says it's important to stay vigilant if you have to get out in this weather.
If there are signs in the road directing you in a certain direction, or there are barricades preventing you from going further, do not drive around them. Always listen to posted signs and follow the instructions listed on them.
Now, power outages remain to be a huge issue as the night progresses. So make sure right now that you have all of your phones charged and you have an emergency kit ready with some flashlights and non-perishable food in the event that you do lose power.
Amber, thank you. More than 165,000 don't have power in the Carolinas. Many of them are right here in the Triad. The most can be found in Guilford, Alamance, and Randolph counties. Guilford County just jumped up within the last few moments. Tom, how many are there now? There are now 6,800 outages, according to Duke Energy, in Guilford County. Alamance County, 7,500. Randolph County, 3,000. Let's check on the latest conditions at North on the coast. Here's a live look at North Topsail Beach. Oh, goodness gracious. It is very wet, very dreary, very cloudy. The storm surge inching closer and closer to the dunes, providing a barrier between the ocean and the homes. Now to another popular spot on our coast. Here is Southport, very quaint area. Look at those waves coming dangerously close to a truck parked in that parking lot and that building right now. Now also to South Carolina. Look at this flooding in North Myrtle Beach. A viewer sent us these photos. You can see the sea taking over the streets and starting to fill a parking garage.
So you can probably hear the wind outside right now through your windows. It's strong in the Triad, but check out this in Bald Head Island. It almost bends some of those trees right in half. It is blowing so strong out there. That high wind also creating rough waves out on Curie Beach. It is really, really picking up out on the coast. We also see Ocean Isle Beach already dealing with some storm surge flooding over out that way. Here in the Triad, Graham having lots of rain. One of our reporters posted this a little while ago. You can see it really whipping across there. And we have got heavy, heavy clouds. If you looked outside, it's pretty dark and ominous in some areas out there. So here's the big concern right now. We've been talking about power outages. Amber told you that Duke Energy is going to be there to take care of you. I want to show you, you saw them staged at Four Seasons Mall. This is down at Charlotte Motor Speedway too. There's lots of stagings just like this throughout North Carolina. So if our area happens to be worse, then they're going to move some of these crews up there. If their area is worse, they're going to move our crews down there. That is how they can help get your power back on fast in this storm.
Ben, thanks. And as we head to break, let's take one more look at conditions in our area from our Winston-Salem Skycam. That camera just jumping around with the wind and the rain that's expected to continue for hours here.
More coverage of Ian's impact on the Triad next. Gusty winds and heavy rain. We are on top of what Ian is bringing to the Triad. The nasty conditions sticking around for many hours. Here's a live look at Gallimore Dairy Road in Greensboro. People leaving to start the weekend. Glad to see not a ton of cars considering it is the evening commute. The best thing authorities are saying to do, just stay off the road to be safe. The devastation widespread in Florida. The Fort Myers area was especially hit hard, where Ian first made landfall as a Cat 4.
Yeah, a couple from the Triad just moved there. They lost a lot. WFMY News 2's Jalen Gilkey found out how their old neighbors here are coming to their aid.
It was heart-wrenching. I must have made 100 attempted phone calls and messages.
For close to 12 hours, Douglas McCauley and his wife Cheryl had no clue if their son Donnie and his family of 5 were alive.
Just wanting to hear their voice to know that they're alive. It meant the world to me to finally get to hear their voices saying, we're okay. As a mother, hearing we've got to tie ourselves together and walk to get somewhere safe in the middle of a hurricane and 130-mile-an-hour winds is heartbreaking.
Donnie and his family's home are relatively okay, but there is significant water damage to all their belongings. And that's where the McCaulleys and World of Pentecost Church in Burlington are stepping in.
We were thinking, what can we do to help? And so my husband talked to the pastor, and pastor offered to pay for the U-Haul, and my husband's going to drive it, but we need to fill it. So what we're looking for is some donations to fill the truck.
I know people down there, and then they had family down there. There's other people in our church that's got family down there. So I thought, we need to help out. We need to do our part.
So as the weather begins to worsen here in the Triad, hopefully with the help from our community, things will start to turn around for the people of Fort Myers.
Fort Myers, that whole area, there's just whole neighborhoods that are totally destroyed. That whole area down there needs help so badly.
We don't typically deal with powerful winds like this for many hours at a time, but that is what we should expect as the remnants of Ian slowly push over our area.
Tim, you're saying that we're seeing the worst of it right now, but the thing is that worst is going to be sticking around for several hours.
That's true. It's not a moment in time. It's going to be a big chunk of our day. So the whole day was a buildup until right now, and it'll pretty much stay like this until about midnight. I did want to take a second to put this on the wide view just so you can kind of grasp what we're dealing with. It really is a hurricane pushing into the Carolinas, and that's what it looks like on that wide scale. And think of it this way too, it's sending cloud cover as far away as New York City and Boston. Rain showers extend all the way up to the Pennsylvania border. This is what we're seeing here locally. And I'll start off at the coast, where truly they've been dealing with some terrible situations. The storm surge flooding really bad in parts of the Grand Strand of Myrtle Beach and areas like that. Also seeing some tough videos from Brunswick County, North Carolina. Now the stats on the system right now, 70-mile-per-hour winds, but it's being treated more like a nor'easter currently than a true tropical system. But the impacts will remain the same. Still very gusty conditions. No tornadoes for us, but there is still that tornado risk for eastern North Carolina. All these dots on your screen right now represent some type of nasty weather. All the red dots here, those are tropical storm conditions, meaning winds of about 40 miles per hour or higher. We've had a lot of that around here so far, and we have more of that to go over the next 6 to 8 hours or so. Scattered rain showers have been pretty steady at last check, and I wanted to point out down in this area, this is the beginning of what's left of the storm center. There's never going to be a clean and perfect eye anymore with this system. That's been, long in the past. But we still have that swirling motion. That's where the highest winds will be, and it's moving right now up through places like Lumberton, Laurinburg, Sanford will be up next, Greensboro, Burlington. You're going to be seeing that over the next couple of hours. And I do want to quickly step out of the way. I'll be back, but take a look as this camera just kind of getting shoved around in the breeze. This is about 500 feet up in the air on top of the Winston Tower. Notice the temperatures are really chilly, but a constant wind at 28 miles per hour. These are your sustained winds at the moment, and the wind gusts have been high as expected, between about 35 and 50 miles per hour so far. Haven't seen anything higher than 48 in our local area, but the night is still young. We hope it will stay just like that and maybe even get better. Winds really not affecting our rainfall, but the rain totals have been 1 inch or less so far. We're about halfway through the system. There could be an additional 1 to 2 inches. Let's hope we don't really have to deal with the flood conditions. I'm encouraged, though. I think so far we've been able to handle the water just fine, and dry air kind of cut into our rain totals. Showers will continue on again, off again, but only through about midnight and a little bit beyond there. Once you're waking up tomorrow morning, most of the heavy rain, that's over with. The wind gusts, they're still with us through about midnight as well, but it will start to get better after that. Once we get to around 2 and 4 a.m., it'll improve. I know it stinks to have windy weather at night, but it's just what we're dealt with this system. It will be pushing out, so severe weather not in the forecast anymore for Saturday or for Sunday. As it moves quickly away, it's not nice. We have mostly cloudy skies and scattered showers, but again, not severe. Hang tight tonight. We'll be with you every step of the way.
Now, this storm is so big it's impacting people from Murphy to Manteo and beyond. Here's proof of that. Check out the camera on the Frying Pan Tower. This camera is 32 miles off the North Carolina coast. The camera has been shaking like this all day. The wind is so powerful it's shredded the American flag that's flying there. Ian came ashore as a Cat 1 this afternoon in Georgetown, which is near Myrtle Beach. It has threatened all those hotels and businesses the tourist area relies on. Thousands of people in our area are without electricity at this hour, and we expect that number to rise into the evening.
We just checked in with Duke Energy, and here is the latest. The power company is now reported more than 195,000 outages in the Carolinas. Tens of thousands of them are in the Triad. The hardest hit areas right now, Guilford and Alamance counties. Nearly 7,000 in the dark in Guilford County and more than 7,000 in Alamance. We'll be right back. The Triad will see Ian's winds and rain for hours, and this is exactly what we do not want to see. A driver plowing through the floodwaters in Garden City, South Carolina. This is extremely dangerous. You know the saying, turn around, don't drown.
Tim, we've got a couple hours to go yet here.
Yeah, we do. This is going to be the time where you kind of want to be home, stay home if you can. You see why. The center of the storm is kind of moving closer to us. It's right there by I-95 near Lumberton and Fayetteville. It is coming our way. You might hear some thunder, but the biggest issue, those gusty winds. Just look, this sky camera's going to bump quite a bit. We've been watching it a long while. We'll be with you throughout the evening with more updates.
All right, we will see you at 11. Have a good night.
News 2 at 6 is brought to you by Mark Spain Real Estate. Get a guaranteed cash offer on your house. Go to markspain.com.